Hey everyone, it's Damnation. I know it's been a while. Been doing my own thing, family stuff. You know how it is living. But today, because I've been watching some videos and stuff like that, because I get bored, especially at night when stuff ain't going on right now. I'm watching the World Cup, which by this time, if somebody's watching this in the future, it's a completely different World Cup. So, but, one of the things is like Doomslayer, Doom Guy, whatever you want to call him, versus 40k, the Warp and Chaos Demons. As somebody who's played 40k, played Doom, not so much, I played the original games and whatnot. So I was just, seeing videos like, oh, Doomslayer versus Korn from villain support and stuff like that. And so I just wanted to put my 2 cents on it as somebody who knows the game. You know what I mean? So I written down a lot of his abilities, and I have a paper here that has his abilities because I didn't fill on my whiteboard here. So I'm going to start with 40k and the Warp, right, and the Chaos Demons and whatnot. So the Warp isn't a physical hell, right? We just describe it as hell. You're flying through hell in the 40k universe. That's what we use as a description of it so people understand what the Warp is, right? But it's not a physical place. It's more of a psychic manifestation of anger, fear, all that stuff within the 40k universe, right? So it's not like, it's like a different, it's not a universe, it's like a dimension, right? Of like just psychic energy of like all these feelings throughout the Imperium and like all that stuff, right? I could go on the history of the 40k universe and stuff like that, but there's other channels that do it better than me, who can do it better than me. But that explains why, right? The demons, there's 4 chaos gods. There are minor gods, of course, like the god for the Harlequins, Gorkamork for the orcs, stuff like that, right? But it's all psychic energy, psychic related. You can manifest them into something that is somewhat physical, right? Like they can appear as a physical being in the sense that it's there, right? Like Saint Celeste is a physical being that appears when needed, or the Legion of the Damned, right? They just manifest and do their shit and then kind of burn out and leave. So they're not physical technically, but they do the Emperor's will. They're a physical manifestation of a person or something to help fight, whether that's an orc form in Gorkamork or chaos with greater demons and stuff like that. So we have Korn. I should have wrote this down on the board. I can do it right now. We'll do it in purple. We have Korn. Okay. Korn. Tzich. I don't know, that's supposed to teach. Okay, so we got Korn, Tzich, Nurgle, and Slaanesh. Korn is the god of war, blood, all that stuff. Skull for the skull throne, blood for the blood god, that kind of stuff. Slaanesh is pleasure, all that stuff, right? Just all that nasty shit that, yeah. And then Nurgle's the god of decay, disease, all that fun stuff. And Tzich is change. He has knowledge, all that good stuff. Changes, manipulates, and all that stuff. He fucks with people, and he gets off on it. Not in Slaanesh way, but he likes to thwart his brothers of the other 4 chaos gods. But anyways, they're like they're not really gods, or they're demon lords, the greater demons, the biggest kings. They're all the leaders, of these 4 chaos realms and stuff like that. And then they have their greater demons who pop up every once in a while. But they pretty much, they're not like a physical entity either. I don't know how to really explain it. There's other things that can explain it better than I can, but yeah, they're not like real technically. That's kind of itching me today. But they manipulate the world, the Imperium, to do slutty, nasty shit, or where it's like pleasure, where it's like eating a lot of food and gluttony and all that stuff, and having an orgy and shit like that. And then Nurgle's just like the disease. You join him to like stop feeling sick and all that stuff and just be alive, but you're not, you're dead. You're basically a walking pestilence. And then Corn is just all angry, rage, killing people, destroying cities. Says he just likes to manipulate people and mess with their heads to gain knowledge and stuff like that. So this is the reason why I bring these up, because it's going to play into what Doomslayer guy can do and whatnot. Because if you throw Doomslayer into the warp in 40k world or universe, okay, so we're going to go to Doomslayer, Doom guy, however you want to call him. His world is basically our current understanding of hell, right? Hell, demons, and stuff like that. Like physically, he goes there, fights demons, and he goes to hell and the other hell worlds and stuff like that are a part of hell, basically. Like they're actual physical, like all the demons are physically there, all this stuff. So he fights literal demons in our hell. Like I'm physically, like if I was a demon, he'd kill me, I'd be dead. That's it, right? The reason why I'm bringing this stuff up is because, like I said before, the warp isn't a physical place. It's you have to go through the warp. You have to go through this. I can't remember what I said in the beginning. You go through this area, this extra step, right? So you open the door, you go into it, you walk the hallway, go to the next door, you open it up, and you leave that hallway. That hallway is the warp. It's a psychic resonance. It's just a psychic thing. It doesn't exist technically. Like I said, there's better worlds. So it's like I said, we describe it as hell, like our physical hell, what we imagine hell would be, but it's not. Yeah, so that's what Doomslayer's universe is our physical hell. Hell, heaven and earth, or heaven and hell, demons, angels, all that stuff. That's what Doom is fighting. That's what Doom guy is fighting. Our physical reality of hell. So when he has like physiology, he can he has all these abilities and stuff like that, right? Like energy absorption, which increases his health, armor, and stuff like that. You use that to boost yourself up, boost your health. One of the things that I wrote here in red, because like I said, these agent energy absorption, he won't like, okay, so if he gets thrown into the 40k universe, right, he's gonna meet the Imperium man. He's gonna like probably get pissed off at Imperial man and stuff like that, but then they're gonna be like, oh, we're gonna tell you about this warp and this and blah blah blah, right? And then they're gonna point him towards the Eye of Terra. He goes through that. It's basically the warp, right? And so like one of his destruction empowerment grows stronger and tenacity with every demon killed, right? And then power up usage, rune absorption and usage, his runes and all stuff. He has advanced intellect, combat expert combatant, however you want it, weapon mastery, inaudible rage, intimidation, inaudible will, immortality, and fate manipulation, something like Tzeentch would do. So we're going to do this, right? So in the warp, even so when the warp comes out and you fight these chaos demons on a planet, right? So your space marines, you're killing your humans, you're killing these warp entities and stuff like that, because that's what they are. They're entities. They're not a physical menace. They're a physical menace. A physical menace. They're a physical form to fight for their respected chaos demons, right? But they don't die. So when they get killed, they don't die. They just poof, and they enter back into the warp and then come back out of the warp to fight, right? So it's a never-ending kind of thing. So that's every demon, basically. Especially like greater demons. If you read the Eisenhower books, the main protagonist demon, they can contain them in something and release them and then contain them again, but they can't be killed, because they'll just reappear again in a different time, because it takes time for them to absorb that psychic resonance and come back to life, come back to form and stuff like that. So when he enters into the 40K universe, right, a lot of his powers are based on his universe, right? So he's going to lose a lot of his powers. He might lose his agent energy absorption, right? His power up usage, whatever that means, his rune absorption damage, because that's all base, like absorption damage or usage, right? Because 40K runes or demon runes aren't the same as hell runes, because it's not hell. So like powers that he's gonna be able to lose, he'll lose like his rune absorption. He's gonna lose his argent, however you want to say, absorption. Some of these other things, he might lose his intimidation, which he might not. His rage, his comment. These are all like his intelligence and stuff like that. So he might be able to learn this stuff before he goes into the warp, because he'll get help from the administratum and all that stuff, or they might kill him, because his immortality might just be sapped from him too, because of how psychic energy works in the 40K universe. You have a lot of psychers in there. That's what his indominate will can do. His human physiology. Yeah, so he has like indominate will. So he might be able to hold himself off to it, but the issue is there's a lot of psychic energy in there that, like psychers from the whatever Eisenhower is, I can't think, that can like break down his will, like physically just break it down. It's really weird how psychics work in 40K. Even with some of like the best psychics can be broke by the psychers of the Inquisitors. Yeah, so the Inquisitors can like break those wills and stuff like that. So it's just some of the things, but like, so he'll learn and all this stuff. He's not gonna be able to like absorb any abilities or anything like that, because that's not how the 40K universe's psychic stuff works, right? So let's say, okay, now he's ready. He's going in. He used his intellect. He gathered all the information he needs. He's gonna understand that the warp isn't hell. It's a psychic manifestation of a corridor and a hallway and stuff like that you have to go through to go from point A to point B. So he's gonna go in there and fight. So like, and he's gonna find out, like, he's gonna fight, right? He's fighting all these demons. He's fighting all this stuff. He lands on a planet inside the warp. He's fighting all these demons, right? So let's go over some like the demon stuff. So like Khorne, he's gonna love it, right? The more he fights, the more of his indomitable rage, the more he just fights, right? The more he's like just angry, fighting, just all out, right? But the issue is, he doesn't have this destruction empowerment. He's not growing. He's not going to be able to go stronger because he's not killing these demons. These demons aren't dying, right? With every demon killed. So every time he hits a demon, he shoots a demon, whatever he does to that demon doesn't die. He just poofs and comes back. Because demons don't die in the 40k universe. They're not something physical that dies in the 40k universe. So, when people are like, oh, Doomslayer can, the villain support talking to Khorne and saying, and Khorne fighting Doomslayer guy, or Doom guy, however you want to pronounce his name, Khorne's going to beat him, hands down, because his powers he's not going to have this. He doesn't have that ability to absorb. He's not going to be able to grow stronger every time he fights. Like, might have tenacity. He's not going to grow stronger. He's not going to have more tenacity than he already does. He's already got all this stuff because of his suit and stuff like that. But like when it comes down to he's not going to grow stronger because the demons aren't dying. They're not a physical death. It's not a physical death. You can't kill these demons like he can with the physical demons of hell, like actual hell. That's where he fights. That's where his abilities come from, is his hell, is our hell, our, planet Earth, Mars, Phobos, hell, right? So as he's fighting in the warp, there's stuff that can manipulate him, right? You can feel that rage. You can hear Khorne talking in the back of his head. Yeah, he's got indomitable will. He's going to stop that. What's going to happen, right? You can't fate manipulate in that, because then what? Open yourself to Tzeentch, who's gonna fuck with you, who's gonna like mess with your head. Tzeentch doesn't have to be there to like manipulate you. He can just whisper in your ear. He can get in the back of your head, right? His indomitable rage, Khorne's gonna feed on that. The more he fights, the bigger Khorne gets, the stronger Khorne gets. This is the opposite. Khorne is this right here. This is Khorne, right? The more he fights, the more Khorne's going to get bigger. His demons are going to get bigger. His demon princes are going to get bigger. The more Doomslayer just fights in anger and rage and just chops or poofs demons out of, like, they don't go out of existence because they're in the warp. They just come back. Poof, gone, come back. That's what demons are in the warp, right? So Khorne's going to be like, oh, blah, blah, blah. So, like, how will Doomslayer guys indomitable will, when will it break for Khorne to possess this guy, to turn him into a demon lord, to a demon prince, and release him onto the 40k universe, right? That's what could happen with Khorne. Slaanesh, the pleasure of killing, right? Feeding that lust for rage and lust for combat against demons and all that stuff. He's going to feel that because it's not the same as the demon world, the hell world that Doomslayer's from, his universe, right? So what's going to happen? He's going to get bigger titties, but that's there. The only one that's probably not going to care unless Doom guy goes to Nurgle's Nurgle world. Nurgle's not going to really care, right? How will, like, he can play on Doom's immortality, right? Even though he's not going to care unless he's attacking his domain, right? He really ain't. He's going to be like, oh, well, Khorne's got him, Slaaneshi's got him, and then, you got the fate manipulation thing, part of Doom's thing. Tzeentch will get into him. He's going to whisper in him, yeah, use that power. Control that. You want to beat my brother? You can use this, and get him, and then all of a sudden, boom, you got a Tzatziki Prince of Change, right? So, when people say, "Oh, Doomslayer can own and reset the 40K universe and destroy the warp and all that stuff," no, he's not. He can't. His immortality will be, questioned by Nurgle. Like, oh, do I need to feel this way? Do I need to feel this pain that I'm feeling because I'm getting my ass kicked by these demons? How do I make that go away? Oh, come here. I got the solution for you. That's Nurgle. Oh, use your fate manipulation. Beat my brothers this way, blah, blah, blah. Slaanesh, you like that pleasure of fighting and all that stuff. Khorne, yes, fight me. Come on, fight me. Do more damage. He's not getting stronger. He's going to be his normal Doomslayer self. He's not going to grow bigger. He's not going to grow stronger. He's not going to grow. This is destruction empowerment. Grows stronger and tenacity at every demon killed, because he's not killing demons. He's killing basically a mirage that poofs and disappears and comes back. That's what the warp is, right? Like, even with Gork and Mork, that's not a physical fight. Gork and Mork love fighting. They're going to grow bigger and stuff like that. Even the Laughing God and all these other minor demons, you can't kill them. They'll mess with your mind and throw you out a different area. Laughing God for the Harlequins kind of protects the Black Library. Even like the Golden Throne, like the psychic backlash that he would get for trying to kill the Emperor would be huge. It would blow his mind up. It'd blow his head up. I'm just guessing by that one. Who knows? Because, but I mean, he technically could fight alongside Space Marines, because he's pretty much a Space Marine with all the enhancements, really. It's just, I think he'd be more susceptible to, fighting in the warp, like people say. Even if he fought, let's say, Tyranids. If he fell on a planet of Tyranids and he'd be sitting there fighting all the time, what's to stop? He's immortal, but what's to stop them from? Because every time you fight them, they find a new way to absorb that, send that message up, come back, something bigger that can kick his ass. Right? Like, he's not getting any stronger. He's not, because they're not demons. Right? He's not feeding off their psychic, whatever. You know what I mean? And that's part of his issue. And what I've seen in the Doom Wikipedia, he doesn't have anything to combat psychic powers, really. I mean, I might have missed something in there, but he doesn't have something that can block that. Right? He doesn't have anything that can absorb that, really. But yeah, that's my take on. I mean, Doomslayer guy was he just going to sit in the warp forever and just fight for nothing? He's not going to get any bigger. He's not going to go anywhere. He's not going to be able to. And then when it comes to fighting, let's say, Khorne, right? When he finally gets to Khorne, he fought through all the demons. They poofed, coming back, poof, he made a beeline to Khorne. Khorne's going to be sitting on his throne, massive. Right? I know Doomslayer killed gods and all that stuff, but Khorne isn't a god, technically. I mean, he's a god, or demon god, or whatever you want to call him, in the 40K universe. But he can't die. He physically can't die. Right? Like Doomslayer, oh, I beat you. What's going to happen? He's just going to come back. Khorne's just going to be bigger and stronger. Because every time Doom fights all the demons and stuff like that, Khorne gets bigger, stronger, meaner. His powers grow. His psychic power grows. His manipulation power grows. So what's that mean for the rest of the 40K universe? Right? You're going to have demons coming out of the woodwork, left and right. Bigger, stronger demons coming out of the woodwork. Khorne's going to send these things out. He's going to get enough power to manifest to be able to crash into the 40K universe and rip it an asshole. because Doomslayer is doing that. He's feeding off of Doomslayer's friggin' path of not destruction, because there's nothing to destroy in the warp. Physically, anyways. Unless you're on a planet, then you can hopefully try to destroy the planet, but even then, that's kind of a hard thing to do if you don't got a ship. Right? And what about Slaanesh? Slaanesh is going to get power bigger, because the pleasure of killing all that whatever that Khorne is doing. Like, he's going to fight him. He's going to whip his ass. Literally and literally. He's going to go, woo! Yes. Slaanesh is hilarious. What about Nurgle? What if he gets traps? What if he does defeat the indominate will of Demon Slayer? And he gets in that head. It's like, hey, yeah, you can... That doesn't have to hurt no more. You don't have to hurt. Come to me. I'll take care of you. Be one of my champions. Right? Then what happens? He doesn't feel pain anymore. He's immortal. He's a prince or a champion of Nurgle, a champion Khorne, a champion of Slaanesh. That would be kind of hilarious. Somebody do that. A Demon Slayer or Doom Guy or Doomslayer Slaanesh mashup with him a whip. And then Tzeentch. He could be a champion of Tzeentch with his fate manipulation. Right. So do I think Doomslayer would just reset beat Khorne and beat Slaanesh and beat the 4 Chaos Gods and the Warp and all that stuff? No. He can beat Space Marines because he's immortal, right? But again, like I said, at a point in time, there's going to be a thing where the Chaos Gods get their grip on him and turn him in the 40K universe. Right? It all depends on what that breaking point is. I mean, I could see him beating I don't think he would be able to beat the Necron because their God's weapons basically, whatever. His immortality ain't going to really matter as much in that case because that's not like a normal weapon. Tau, I don't think he'd have any issues with Tau, which would be hilarious though, because I don't think he'd fight them because he'd think they're just lesser. The orcs, that would be something. Because I mentioned Tyranids already. It'd just be him constantly fighting Tyranids without any fail. But the orcs would be interesting. Because the more orcs he kills, the bigger the orcs get. I'm not talking about the Wa in the fake psychic energy that people talk about. Oh, if they think they're a gun, they're going to be a gun. Or, you know what I mean? That's not how it works. Or the Wa makes orcs bigger. It's not a psychic energy. It just makes them meaner, bigger, stronger. Gork and Mork are going to be like, yes, yes. And they're going to be cheering them, praising the orcs, and throwing Gork and Mork shit at the orcs and just making them... That's an interesting fight. Doomslayer can do some damage to the orcs, but they're going to be pissed. And they're going to call... Like, that psychic Wa is going to call a lot of orcs to that planet, wherever Doomguy is fighting. Not so much the Tyranids, because I think after a while they'll flee at a certain point and will leave the area because too much resources and whatnot are being, you know what I mean, biomass or whatever is too much for them, and they're going to leave that area. And Necrons, I'm not sure about. Eldar, that'll be interesting because of how the Harlequins, not so much, because I don't think they'd really like them. They'll probably just stay away from them. Same with the Dark Eldar. Oh, maybe not the Dark Eldar. They get off on that shit. They'd want to capture them and throw them in their pits to fight, so they can get that pleasure and whatnot from that. For humans, Space Marines and all that stuff. I said the Inquisitor Station will break him, but I think that he'd be more on their side because of the shit that's going on with them, because he is a human fighting on the side of to save humanity from hell. So he'd be like, oh, I'm going to save you guys from the warp and all that stuff. But yeah, it would just be interesting. But yeah, for the warp and chaos demons and stuff like that, he's not going to do much in there. He's just going to make Khorne bigger, stronger. He's going to make all these guys stronger except for maybe Nurgle. Nurgle doesn't really care. I don't know. Nurgle's kind of a funny chaos demon. I think he's one of the weakest ones, to be honest with you. Out of Khorne, Slaanesh, and Tzitzit. But yeah, I don't think Doomslayer doesn't really do much in the warp in 40k. He'll basically get his ass kicked every single time. His mortality could probably be stripped from him by like Tzitzit or Slaanesh. I mean, Nurgle for sure, because then he turns him into a friggin' poxwalker or something like that, which Nurgle can do, and then his immortality is gone, but he's immortal a different way. But yeah, his immortality in the 40k universe can be stripped by the 4 chaos gods or 4 chaos champions or whatever you want to call them. But yeah, like this is pretty much useless. He can't gain anything from it, and these go away. So this goes away. That goes away. That goes away. That goes away. This goes away. This is all what he gets left and what I have here. It's, and maybe his immortality and indomitable will, that will be broken at some point. His fate manipulation will be a Tzitzit freaking candy, the sucker for Tzitzit. He likes it. You know what I mean? But yeah. Despite what people want to say about how he can beat the warp and beat Khorne and this stuff, he can't. It'll just make things worse. My best bet for Doomslayer or Doom Guy, however you want to pronounce it, is to fight on the side of Imperium and fight like the Orcs, Tyranids, Dark Eldar. Maybe not so Eldar, because Eldar will probably stay away from him. Try to fight the Necrons if he doesn't get Gauss blasted away. And that's another thing too. If his immortality does go, guess what? His soul is open, like wide open. When he dies, because he can die in the 40k universe. If people can believe that, right? Even if he's immortal, he can die. A gas weapon from the Necrons can manipulate and just basically disintegrate him into atoms and nothing. Then what? His soul gets possessed. His soul gets taken over, and his soul gets ripped to shreds by wherever. I'm not saying he can't lose in the 40k universe. He'd be a great asset to the Imperial man. When he spends time with the Inquisitors and stuff like that, he'd be useful for as an Inquisitor, as going after demons and stuff like that in their physical form, which is like me turning into a demon, that kind of stuff, fighting cults and stuff like that. Or, like I said, fighting Tyranids, fighting maybe not fighting orcs. If you jump them on a planet of orcs and it's calling all the orcs into an area, that could be a good thing. You could basically wipe out the orcs in that matter. I mean, they're a fungus anyways, but still, like, you trap them in a sector of 40k universe, and you blow them out of the sky. I mean, it would be a big wall, but still, it's something that the Imperium can use. Maybe with the help of the Eldar. I mean, who knows, it might draw with that much psychic energy going off with the wall. It might draw on the Tyranids, and then what? There's a planet that actually has that issue where it's orcs and Tyranids. Can't remember what it is. But yeah, Doomslayer in the warp, it's not going to do anything. His powers are vastly limited in the 40k universe. Right? He can't kill the 4 demon chaos gods. He can't fight them. He can fight them, but he's not going to do anything. They're going to laugh at him, especially like Khorne as he gets bigger and stronger, as Doomslayer guys poofing his guys away. He's not going to have any more strength and whatever because this goes away. But that's my take on it. Doomslayer, he's just there to fight and nothing else because he can't do anything else. But, you know, that's my opinion on it.